Valorant is getting bigger and more intense with every match, every story, and with every year passing. And as a huge drop of information right before the finals of the Champions 2023, Riot put out their calendar and plans for the upcoming VCT 2024 season with a buckload of new stuff, some which might be great, some not so much, and I'm here to explain it all. Let's have a look at what the upcoming year of Valorant holds for us and why it isn't what we expected. It's actually slightly better. Let's first look at all the good. Valorant's upcoming year has clearly promised us a lot more action, a whole lot more competition, and the fact that Riot actually listened to some of the things we spoke about. First of all, challengers. The season starting from next year is going to be a whole lot more stretched and is going to start early so that it doesn't seem like a half a year kind of job for most players, because after Ascension gets over, there's practically nothing except for a few off-season events for all these teams. With a big change of starting the 2025 season early next year and extending it to the year after is a great initiative which will incentivize more orgs to stay in the competition throughout the year and not let go of their teams as soon as the season ends, as they start their season way earlier from this point forward. Which means a lot of players will be saved from putting up their LFT posts on Twitter post-August and just watch that tweet rot. Tier 2 needed a big boost from Riot, and while this may not be the best thing and the most expected thing that we wanted or could have happened, it is for sure one of the things that takes a step in the right direction to promote Valorant at every competitive level. Also, with them giving Ascension its own spotlight, making it happen after next year's Champions, puts all the attention on the biggest Tier 2 event of the year, which is really great for that competition. The other great thing is that they're introducing the team affiliations between Tier 1 and Tier 2, which also includes game changers. It's a great initiative to give players on both sides a taste of what's happening on the other. Give the teams the opportunity to try something new or unique with a loaned player who could be the next big thing for them. This gives a huge amount of exposure and experience to all the players in Tier 2 and in game changers who yearn for that top tier competition. It also paves a path for those extraordinary ones who deserve to be in that Tier 1 but aren't there just yet. A taste of the ultimate competition in Valorant. A new kickoff tournament similar to VCT lock-in but happening in the 3 regions as a qualification separately for the first Masters at Madrid before the league stage begins is another great addition, giving players of Tier 1 an interesting and small explosive start to the year similar to what they had in the previous. Now let's have a look at some of the things that might not be so great. Number 1, championship points. I'm not saying this isn't great. It's a brilliant initiative to give teams a reward for every single win they accumulate, and their fate is in their own hands across the season. Which means they can take no game for granted. And if they collect enough points, they can qualify to champs. But this takes out the LCQ from the equation, which might bother some teams. As far as I think, this point system is a double-edged sword because as it is spread across all 3 regions, only the 4 to 6 best teams with the most points collected across the entire world will make it. Not one from each region sort of thing, which means that these teams are not only fighting their own regional rivals, they're also keeping an eye out for the other regional teams constantly and battling them to cross regionals, trying to be at a better position than them. One point could be the rise or fall of a team to qualify for the VCT 2024 champions. It is extremely exciting because they're competing against the rest of the world at the same time as their own region. Now, why it might not be as liked? Well, LCQ was a fresh breath of air for all those teams because even if they didn't perform at the international leagues, they had a chance to compete to make it to champs. The biggest example, Crew Esports did not win a single match during their regular season but absolutely tore down the Americas in the LCQ and made it to champs with a miraculous run no one expected. These kinds of fairy tale stories would disappear with no LCQs. They had a chance even though they went 0-9, but with the new point system, they won't get a chance like LCQ. They'll have to push everything they can during the 2 splits of the regular season. On the other side, this does reward the teams that have been performing rather decently but couldn't qualify in the first stint of the International League as well. Now, while yes, the LCQ is sort of more of an elimination process where teams like Cloud9, who might have deserved to be in the champions, did not get through because crew were just too good, this point system gives them the advantage of having performed throughout the season consistently, a better chance, a better opportunity to get themselves rewarded for what they actually have been working towards. Number 2, player burnouts. Now, while we love the amount of competition increasing, the one thing that we really hope doesn't happen is the player burnout due to too many matches. While this isn't as bad right now for tier 1 because their competitions finish up within August, it is something that could pop up with tier 2 now that their seasons will be extending way more. But to be fair, this is what the players themselves and the audience had asked for, so we all have to be ready for it all. They get to play a lot more Valorant, and that's exactly what we wanted. So hopefully Riot have stretched this in a way that it isn't too pressurizing on the players. One thing that I missed and kept for the end because we received minimal information about it is the Premier League. The path from 0 to 100, directly from the game to the biggest stage of Valorant. Premier gives the players from every single household in the world where Valorant is played a chance to make it to the top of Valorant. While this too will run year long, the further plans of Premier, how it all is going to be working, is not yet completely known. But we will find out before the end of this year. It is a really exciting prospect for every single Valorant player to get a taste of the competition and know what the sport is about. I think Premier could really give us some insane stories about teams coming up about from nowhere and create a mark for themselves, and I cannot wait for it. The 2024 season looks really promising, and I had hoped that Riot would shed a little more light on the off-season events, maybe making third-party tournaments a lot more in number because the teams needed it this year, but next year, hopefully, we're able to see some change in that direction. I'm really excited for the competition of Tier 1 to go global and regional both at the same time with the new point system and watch the chaos unfold as every team fights for their lives and hardest for every single win. What do you think of this upcoming season, and what is the best and not so best thing in your opinion about VCT 2024? Comment down below, let's have a chat and watch Paper X win Champions 2023.